Welcome to the Long Range Pursuit Podcast, presented by Gunworks, where we learn about and share long-range shooting techniques, science, and gear. Well, Carl, thanks for taking some time today to do an episode of the Long Range Pursuit Podcast.
It's an absolute pleasure, Aaron. I don't think our options are much greater outside. It's a terribly windy day, unlike May traditionally when you guys are here with us in South Africa. But as you can hear, it is pumping. There's a storm blowing in and some much needed rain, hopefully in the next few days. But we've had a good one, another wonderful safari. You have made some great shots. We've been under pressure.
You put me on some great animals.
Thanks to you to Dango, mate.
Yeah.
It's been good. Very, very good.
Well, one of the things I thought we could do for an episode is maybe talk a little bit about South African hunting. I know we've done a lot of TV show episodes.
Yes.
On, hunting, but you don't get to capture a lot. And
I think it's South African hunting, Aaron. It's such a wide, broad spectrum, the offer, that something that very few folks realize is the diversity that the country offers, the north hunting versus the south hunting versus the central part of South African hunting, and even the western hunting. It all differs a bit like North America too, where down south is so different to up north. So, here in the East Cape, what we have that's unique and what we've always shared with folks is that obviously the diversity is a big deal. We sit with 5 different biomes. Those biomes support a wide variety of species, and that is one of the reasons why the hunting and the offer is so wonderful here, because a guy can come back here 2, 3, 4 times and still experience something new in not only the style of hunting, but also the species, what's on offer. But I think a large part of a misconception is you're on your first time hunt. What are you looking for? Who do you choose and why? I mean, you go to a safari show, may that be Dallas Safari Club, SCI, Houston, or similar, a shot show, something similar, and you are overwhelmed. How do I
think I see a difference, like from being here many, many times.
Yes.
I would have to say that this trip to South Africa sits at the top of my trips that I want to do, that I have done. So I love the idea of a sheep hunt. It's great.
Yeah.
Right. It's something that everybody should hopefully get a chance to experience. But it's not something that you want to go do year after year after year after year.
Yeah, I think that the limit also, that limiting factor with that as well is just the amount of tags available.
Sure.
And that's where...
And the cost.
It's a big deal. Yep.
Yeah.
Big deal.
Yeah, so for $30,000, plus or minus,
yeah,
you can come to Africa and have the experience of a lifetime.
Yeah.
And I've been having a hard time spending that much the last few years, because we start to get pretty selective.
Yeah, we're chasing specific animals to prove or different experiences.
Yeah. And so it's hard, to really spend like that on that second or third or fourth safari. But that first one where you don't have anything and it's all fair game, it's pretty crazy.
Very, very fun. But I do think, Aaron, in saying that, there is a difference in offer as anything in the world, no matter where you hunt. Obviously, Africa is known for the package scenario. A lot of hunters have been on that first trip and enjoyed that package. And when they've returned, I've seen that where package is not for me, maybe on a second time around. A lot of our hunters who, 25 years ago, we were also a package destination. I wanted to change it. I wanted to hunt what was in front of me. I wanted to hunt the opportunities. I was not of the belief that I could package a group of animals and go hunting to try and achieve that checklist, because ultimately, as the outfitter, I've got a commitment to you, the hunter. As a hunter, you want to get value for what you've paid for, what you've booked, what you envisage you would achieve. So I went in with a scenario, let's do a daily rate safari. The variables that I know I can factor in that are not changeable. You're going to sleep, you're going to be guided, you're going to eat, you're going to need laundry, you're going to need Wi-Fi. All these things, this is not hard to solve. But I can't guarantee you the warthog boar of your dreams or the kudu bull across the valley is going to necessarily cooperate with our wishes today or tomorrow or the next day. We don't know what the moon's going to do. We've just experienced that. We've had a hard go at kudu. 3-4 days on the glass. It all finally came together when the weather changed on us. But in saying that, imagine you on your first trip. I'm the PH. There I am. There's a kudu bull across the valley. I know pressure is on me. You want a kudu, I want you to have a kudu. Then we've all met our commitments. Now we hunt a kudu. Is it 200% the right kudu type? Is it 200% the responsible decision you make?
So if I look back at the experience that I've had, what I learned really quickly, and maybe not the first time.
Yeah.
Like it took some time.
Yes.
But what I learned was if you can go at a safari with an open mind.
Yes.
Right? And you might say, hey, look, I don't want to spend the big dollars on this animal or this animal or this animal. I want to chase plains game, and I would be happy to chase a kudu every year and a bush buck and basically go at that safari and say, hey, look, I am up for, a great opportunity at the right animal when it's presented.
100%.
Then all of a sudden that pressure's gone.
Oh, 100%. And it's so much better for the guide. The PH sits back and he goes, okay, this guy is not placing this criteria on me. And I know here is a select group of species that are of interest. So when I see that, I work at that. When that opportunity comes, we can go for it.
I'll bet half the time that we go out looking for one thing, we end up taking another thing.
100%. And that's just due to the diverse offer. You will see 15 species on the same hillside.
And being open for
take your chances. And then it's that thing I spoke to you about earlier in this forest, momentum. It's interesting when you're looking for the big kudu bull, when the great bushbuck ram steps out, you take him. It's amazing how the kudu bull follows.
Yeah.
It's like your day goes, your safari flows. The minute you create the bottleneck in your safari and you place, and this is one of the...
I have to have this today.
Before I do that.
Yep.
Exactly, Aaron. And I see it's one of the big mistakes first timers make. I don't want to do anything until that. I'm going to come back. This is anti. You're not going to come back. He won't be there. It is not a zebra or a wildebeest on the plains. No problem. Pass him up. But those ones that your professional hunting gets excited about.
Do you think that this comes from maybe a mistaken idea that because for a lot of these properties, there is a boundary.
Yes.
That somehow you're able to just come back and take that animal. Somehow that helps.
100%, I think that's part of the perception. And let's be brutally honest about it. The high fence scenario takes a beating because there's this belief that all high fences are the same, but it's not the same. How can a scenario of a 200-300 acre place in Texas be the same as a 30, 40, 50,000 acre high fence in Africa? It's not the same.
With 40,000 acres in Africa, the animals never see the boundary. Most of the animals never see.
I always say to a guy, when you compare free range, which is, in our case, our free range hunting is domestic ranch land. That man is making a living from cattle, sheep, or goats, similar, domesticated animals. What he then gets out of his wildlife is absolute bonus. And so I always try and explain to a guy, I can cater to your wishes of hunting a free-range experience. Just remember, you will never see as much wildlife and the quality of wildlife on a free-range area on the average, not specific species, but on the average, that you will in a large, extensive, high-fence area.
And that's strictly because the free range generally indicates that wildlife competes heavily with domestic stock.
Exactly. Where the scenario, wherever you may go, if the sole focus and the goal of that property and its existence and sustainability is wildlife, the investment in that wildlife is 10, 20, 30-fold what the domestic ranchers do. The domestic rancher investment is in his domestic stock. That is his banker. And this is all about sustainability. There is a land use. How do we go about ensuring that land can support the activity or not?
Well,
and that's what it is. But at the same time, Aaron, I also say to a guy, have you ever considered a blue duiker, bushbuck, an impala, a common reedbuck, things that are quite territorial? They never get to the boundaries of the property because they have boundaries of their territories that they enforce on one another. How does that animal ever know he's an IFA?
Yeah. No, that's one of the things that I realized really quickly was it's not like a lot of people portray here in the East Cape or in the Karoo.
No,
like,
it's not.
It's not like that. And we had a wonderful day, probably the best day ever in 14 years.
Yeah.
Where we took a couple animals inside of one property.
Yeah.
That was
And same land.
40,000 acres inside.
Yeah.
And then we took a couple animals that were on the other side.
Yes.
And the hunt, the experience, everything was exactly the same. And the trophy quality, they were both giants.
Both giants. I mean, a day from heaven. 2 kudu bulls of that nature, an Inyana and a bushbuck. I mean, it was spiral paradise. It's, Ed and I was saying, Ed and I have been going together for 20 years. And in 20 years, we have not had a day like that.
Yeah.
But we had 2-3 tough days leading up.
But back up.
Yeah.
So we hunted a property that had a high fence around it.
Yes.
And it was free-ranging wildlife. They stood up a fence so that they could manage their game properly. And we got a hiding.
Proper hiding. I mean, I sat on day 2 at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and I started making phone calls. I had to find a solution because I was doing the same thing, expecting a different result. And that's the beauty that people also have to...
We knew there was animals on there.
Yeah. We had seen them the week before.
Yeah.
The guys had seen the bulls. My team was saying to me, I left a bull there. I've left 2 bulls there.
Yeah.
You should be seeing them. They'll come out this afternoon, but they just weren't. But that is also the beauty of something to consider. Because of privatization in these large, high-fenced areas, it has afforded us the opportunity to enhance your experience. And if we can't come right here, if we can't find a solution for our desire and our plan of achieving a certain goal, because we control so much land we hunt on, my team's able to make a call and say, tomorrow we're changing it up. And we did that. And it's amazing. The change, the difference, the results, everything just started flowing. So that is a big factor in that. And then last year, just when it comes to fences, and this is a big misconception, and I've been at it for a long time. There's this belief in some circles within hunting, not even anti-hunting fraternity, that fences are there to assist hunters. On the contrary, if I look at myself and I'm a little drop in the ocean in a bucket here, there are many people like me who've invested heavily their life's commitment into their areas. The fences are not there to assist you, the hunter. The fences are there to protect the wildlife and to sustain the wildlife and the genetics and the management of those areas for habitat as important as the wildlife.
How many people in South Africa are like you in that they're willing to invest today for a result a decade from now?
There are a bunch of guys who have that vision and they are doing it. The biggest challenge as the industry we face is the uncertainty of import-export laws around the world, where countries sitting far away making decisions for us in Africa. It's something we're sitting with at the moment with elephant, some of our bigger cats, things like that. That doesn't affect me as much today, but it may affect me tomorrow. And as hunters, we got to be sure that we also stand up to assist our fellow hunters in the sustainability of their areas and their products too.
Well, I think for the last 2 days, we've spent a lot of time in the car together.
Yeah.
Hunted a little bit, a lot of looking, a lot of traveling, and all the conversations always lead back to, this herd of gemsbok or this, impala ram.
Yes.
And the genetic that brings to the diversity and the payoff that you might see a decade from now.
Or my children will hopefully enjoy the benefits of that.
I actually see you reticent to harvest.
Yes.
When
it's a big fight.
Yeah, for you.
I back the side. I know the time it takes to achieve the desired maturity for the style of hunting we are trying to achieve here. Our ideology and our entire existence depends on hunting the right age-based animal. And when you do that, 85-90% of the time, the quality will be of the right quality.
So you just so everybody has a concept of this, how old is a big, old, mature eland bull when it's right to take him?
I believe he's 10 to 13 years in age. Yet, I see plenty of bulls in the age of 7 to 8 years being hunted because they've got these impressive horns, but they don't have the mop yet, they don't have the dewlap. That's just one example. There are many species I can go through with you and try and explain to you. Our ideology is just one that we invest all that time. Why do we give up at 70% of the investment? The genetics of that animal needs to continue through our...
Well, if the person with the land and the person with the animals is willing to invest the time and get the right age class distribution, it'll come right eventually.
100%.
But if somebody dips into it a little too far, now you're in trouble and you're behind.
Yeah. Always very, very passive in your approach on your quota. Always conservative quota on a large number will ensure your age base is right.
Yeah.
And as hunters, none of us can ever argue with our desire to hunting an old animal.
Yeah.
And that is, so many guys say it, but I sometimes wonder how many understand the importance there.
Well, here's a couple challenges from a perspective that's outside of here.
Yeah.
It took me 6 or 7 years to start to understand what an old animal looks like.
Yes.
And think about the 2 gemsbuck that we shot in
the north now. Yeah.
Now, we hunted really, really hard to find a bull that was old enough to shoot,
but long enough
as well. And it was difficult. And I think we kind of split the baby just right.
Yeah.
But then we went and shot another bull with Michael.
Yeah.
That was clearly a old boss. And he had short horns.
Stumpy.
And after we shot that bull,
we all were jealous.
We were jealous.
Michael owned us, yet we hunted this great bull in the morning, and Michael came in at last light and absolutely, he squared us.
Yeah.
There was like everybody stood over this campsite wishing it was there.
Yes.
We were all in.
Absolutely. I do believe that the age of the animal is something that a lot of people in the States do think about.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to sheep.
Yes.
It's not necessarily about the size of the sheep. Yeah. For most of us, it's about how old it is.
But what helps that is that your education has been so good on the rings.
Yeah.
Even me sitting in Africa, I'm a member of the Wild Sheep Foundation, and I get the newsletters and things. I've been educated by the foundation, by the people in the industry, by you, the hunter, who tells me about your experiences. Even I know to ask you the age, the full core ram, etc., where I don't think 20 years ago I had any clue about it. So the onus on us as well. We got to educate people better, explain to them. And I think as a team here, the culture is strong to educate. We walk away from so many animals telling guys, we appreciate you understanding that this is not the time for that great bull. And if you will allow that animal to walk, somebody will allow it for you tomorrow, and somebody allowed it for you yesterday. And that there is a culture that sees everybody benefit.
Yeah. And if we circle back to the style of hunting that we talked about in the beginning, where you do a day rate, and then you pay a trophy fee based on the opportunity.
On the harvest.
Then when you come with an open mind, and maybe a general direction.
Give us a little bit of a base to work.
Sure. So you come with that open mind, and then you have, instead of one opportunity potentially that you might hunt 4 or 5 days for, now you have 5 opportunities that can happen any minute.
Yeah, exactly. And it's amazing the adventures you will go on and the places you will explore when your mindset is not stuck on a certain experience.
Yeah.
You will not come to Africa maybe understanding what it takes to hunt a big old warthog bull, because you see it on National Geographic. You see wherever you look, you see all the images of the wildebeest, etc. But you don't realize what it entails to achieve the desired result. And you learn that along the way by being open-minded.
Yes. And you learn about the species by seeing one that's maybe not quite there, and then you ask, well, why me more? Why? And then if you're open to that and you're receptive to that, then you get an education. I was teasing you the other day about maybe I've been here long enough that you could turn me loose and I could make some good decisions without
I really think
guiding the way.
I think you could. I think your only challenge would be the tracker. How would you communicate? Because Aaron's not going to back out on his own.
I know how to use the radio.
That works.
Call for the truck. No, I've had a great time. I think the misconception of Africa is that the fence helps the hunter. That's the one. And a lot of people back home, they have no concept of how amazing the hunting experience is here. Like they don't understand that a hunt for a hartebeest up in the high mountains of the Karoo is a better experience than an antelope hunt in Casper, Wyoming, out in the plains on the rancher's ranch land. Like it's a better experience. It's something that's different. It's something we haven't done before.
Exactly.
And it's just as hard. It's just as hard to judge. It's just as hard to go get set up on a shot. And obviously the long range has helped us along the way, big time. But we've done a very good job of experiencing something new and something different all along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. And that also comes with that open-minded approach, Aaron. I have to commend you that you and I were in one of our discussions, our many discussions on the road and sitting on a cliff looking for kuru. I said to you, in all 14 years, you have never once asked me, is it big? Never. And I have to commend you because men by nature are going to say, is it a good one? Is it a big one? Is it the right one?
Well, we ask those questions all along the way.
In the education.
Yes.
Not at go time.
Because from the very beginning, I made the decision to trust that you were going to do well for the dollars that I spent.
Yeah, absolutely.
That I was going to trust that your program and your ideals and the system that you've put in place was going to yield the best results.
Deliver those results.
So as soon as I hand that trust over to you, then I never have to ask you how big it is. But I will tell you, there's some animals that we know as clients, we know when you guys get excited that it's not just a great animal, it is a once-in-a-lifetime animal.
It's like you saw in your kuru, Ed now started barking.
Yes.
We started barking commands at one another. Do this, do that, get on it, Aaron, move. It wasn't like, Aaron, what do you think? Set up, do that. It was now, and Ed, are you filming? And I've got a range, double check the range. We weren't very polite about it to one another because we knew the window of opportunity was so small.
Yes.
Grant, are you on it? Cameraman, rolling. Are we good to go? And that was like, you guys...
Because even though that was inside of a huge block, if we miss this little opportunity, Scott, we never see it again.
That you dream on.
No, again, back to that concept of if the people in the West and the people in the U.S. really understood what was going on here and what the hunt was like, I think you would be overwhelmed. You would literally, instead of booking 2 years in advance, you'd be talking about in the next decade, when your spot was open. It's a very engaging hunt. It's a very exciting trip.
And and you know what it has done, Aaron, and thanks to you guys and the American Hunter, and this is where you have to be commended at the next level. You guys have been able to create an industry for us here through your desire to travel and hunt. Americans are great. Have a gun, will travel. It's a wonderful, wonderful saying you guys have. But it's alive and well, because I promise you right now, when my dad started this business 42 years ago, there was this, and the wildlife we have today was a dream. It was not a reality. This wildlife that you see here today, it is not photographic safaris. It is not hunting. It's collective of all.
The value of it has been established by the people that are willing to come here.
100%. We are just the custodians to ensure it grows.
Our customers are the same.
Yeah.
Like the value of our product and what we're able to develop and to change, improve, bring to the market, like that is from our customers.
Yeah.
Right. And they're backing.
It's what they allow.
Your business, of the industry, et cetera.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, so let's wrap up. Let's wrap up with a little discussion about a typical safari. I just want to walk people through what this looks like.
Great question. And also what's included in the typical safari.
Sure.
I am still shocked to this day that I get a call from a guy on his way, about to leave home, wanting to check, is there laundry service, is there Wi-Fi? Are meals included? These are things that I don't speak about. I take it for granted. So
if you've ever gone on a guided trip in North America, you will understand where those questions come from.
No,
because you do not
foreign to us.
You do not get treated like you do when you come down here.
Yeah. Well,
this is so comfortable.
Well, it's supposed to be you on vacation, and that's the idea. But yeah, typically, and I'm going to speak for my safaris. I'm going to speak about the majority of the industry. This is what you can expect from my fellow outfitters. Your daily rates or your packages include all your meals and drinks, all your Wi-Fi, all your daily laundry, your tracker, your skinner, your professional.
Now, I've heard of some places down here that don't include the drinks, don't include the laundry, and they add those as extra houses.
A few guys, I believe it's a short-sighted part of the business. I don't have time to count your drinks, your Wi-Fi, or your laundry. I'm too busy trying to find you good animals out in the field. So I don't exhaust myself on null and voids, in my opinion. So what we do try and do, include everything, and from there, it's only the game you harvest. Very simple, very turnkey, easy, ready to go. In saying that, a typical day, typical safari, we like to collect the guys in Port Elizabeth, like you guys come in around about midday. We collect you, we get back to camp, about a 2-hour drive to camp. We try and shoot guns first day, make sure zeros are good, make sure guys are comfortable. If you're renting any of the Gunworks rentals we have here, which we are very proud, we have 10 now, finally. I
always felt like that sighting a rifle in has become a very nice tradition.
It's very nice because the banter sets up the safari.
Yeah.
The banter down at the range between everybody, it breaks the ice. It's amazing. When we come back from the range, you can already see the friendships developing. The similar type of guys looking for the same type of guy. First night at the pub, you can already see the beer drinkers, the whiskey drinkers, the fire pit sitters. It's amazing. It all begins at the shooting range. So we knock some paper, we knock some steel, we come back, get the guys settled in. Lee knocks them out with a wonderful first meal. We have some fun here in the trophy room where we're sitting here. And then day one, we like to be up about an hour before sunup. We give you a little continental breakfast, a few snacks, and head out to our hunting here. Very similar to yours. Early mornings, late afternoons. Down south here in the north where it's more open, the plains, a lot of the species we can hunt throughout the day. So depending how hard you want to go, it will mean, are you having a lunchbox for the day? Are you heading into the mountains? It's too far to come back. A lot of our areas, it's not that you're traveling far to get there to hunt. It's that where you begin and where you start pursuing, for example, a klipspringer or a Vaal reedbuck, it's only going to be an hour, hour and a half from the time you leave camp till you get into the terrain they are living in. So that is something to consider. Then we'll say, listen, we're going to do a lunchbox today. We're going to have a nice siesta out in the field.
Because when you go do that, you don't want to waste the couple hours to come back. And
I don't
want to lunch. It's 3 hours of the hunting time.
And not
those animals are so hard to find.
Yeah. When I find him, I want to sit on him. Even if he's not in the right position, I don't want to have to, just for a meal, take you there to come back to find him again. I want to sit on him, then let's plan a move. And there's a big point that I think is very important that I've come to notice that is enjoyed here. My team and I have this absolute desire not to guide you, but to involve you. I want your opinion. You are a hunter. You have experience. I want to know, what do you think? How do you see this playing out? Because there's no slam dunk sitting in front of us here on this mountain. How am I going to get above that Vaal reedbuck, that blessed buck, that hartebeest? How are we going to make it around? What is the wind going to do for us? Is it different up there to here? Those are the things that we turn around and say, what do you think? Because it's amazing, you know, guys from around the world, you have a different perspective. And I enjoy it so much when my hunter comes up with a plan that I go, I like that. I like that. That's new. It's a new way of looking at it. And all the guys do that, where they literally involve you and also involve the non-hunter. Often we have wives along, kids along, partners along, And there's this perception that they're supposed to sit at camp and read a book. No ways. Please come along, join in on the experience. You can sit on the hill with a radio if you don't want to hike up the mountain.
Yeah, what I've noticed is all types come.
Yeah.
And if you're young and you're fit and you have energy, then it opens up opportunities.
Yes.
And if you're a little older and you're more relaxed and you want to make sure you get Lee's lunch every day, it's like you can take a different path.
Yeah. Your pace is set by your desire and your capabilities. But I will always say, no matter what your age, your physical ability, there's something for you in Africa. Really, there is something for you. The young guns, I'll run them up mountains all day long till their tongues hang out. The old guy, we can walk down the hill and take it easy. But let's hunt the right species. Let's plan accordingly. Let's not be silly on our diet, on our desires and wishes.
And realistic expectations.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you again for another great safari. And if we get an opportunity to chat one more time before I leave, I'd really like to talk about long-range hunting and how that's changed the safari dynamic for you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And how you think it's going to change.
And where to go.
Yeah.
Exactly. So thanks, Aaron. Awesome. Another year 14 in the salt. Like they say, year 15, we'll be at it again. I have no doubt. And looking forward to it, mate. And thank you very, very much. It's always a pleasure having you guys out here. It's so wonderful having your rifles, the product, and, I'd blow a lot of smoke up your ass about it, but I promise you I wouldn't if they didn't deliver. I don't know if there's many people around the world who we as a collective, as a team, has seen what your weapons do day to day, day in, day out, and still going.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, mate. And to the team back home, hell of a job. Incredible.
If you like what you're hearing here, please take a second and give us a 5-star rating and a positive review on iTunes or on your favorite podcast app. We appreciate your feedback and suggestions for topics you'd like discussed or questions you want answered on the podcast. You can reach out on Facebook or Instagram or send us an email to podcast@gunworks.com. Also, be sure and check out our full offering of long-range gear at gunworks.com. Use promo code LRP for free shipping on any order.